How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RUMOURS and welcome back to a brand new video. Now today guys, we are going to be investigating the rumors that surfaced yesterday from Puke. We're going to be looking at some theories and that sort of stuff. And also later today, you also can expect a rundown of all the rumors so far and a bit of a rundown list sort of things for you guys to enjoy. But for now, let's take a look at these, theories, these speculations and updates regarding the rumor from last night coming from Puke. So to begin with, the rumor is what we see right here. And also I should point out that this was posted by the same person who had the Snake Legendary rumor a few, months back. This is Puke. If you don't know Puke, he actually did a few rumors in the past as well, and he has also let us know about some things. Now, if you may be asking, okay, what is his credibility? Well, simply, he has none as of yet. The only reason we even consider the things he says is because nobody's been able to prove him wrong yet. Nobody's been able to debunk the things he said. He's been correct about the way translation works for these games, and he's been confirmed that he's correct about the translation from the Rainbow Rocket people. Now, if you don't know who the Rainbow Rocket people are, they are the individuals who leaked, and I say leaked because they actually did leak it, and they were for real, they leaked that Rainbow Rocket was going to be in Ultra Sun and Moon. They leaked it way ahead of time before Rainbow Rocket was even shown off. So they do have credibility, and they're saying that the way he's describing the translation work that is done at Game Freak, that he is describing it correctly. So just based on that, he does gain a slight inch of credibility. So if you do not trust Puke, that is totally fine. I'll have a video tomorrow going through his old rumors, and actually no, sorry, later today I'll have a video going through his old rumors and that sort of stuff and breaking it all down. Now, you may also be asking here, now, what is this rumor right now about? Well, it's about simply him saying this one sentence. Hundreds of years ago, this submerged town gave birth to one of the most famous trainers of all time. Its name was Pallet Town. And simply what people have been like, kind of break it down is that this is supposed to be like, Pallet Town and Kanto underwater at least like 100 plus years into the future, or at least something like that. Not maybe 100 years into the future, but sometime into the future. So now if you look at the kind of updates we've gotten regarding this, the theories and speculations, we may be able to see some things, and also we have some hints from Ultra Sun and Moon talking about a future region slash a future Kanto, so to say. So let's take a look at that, guys, and let's see what it's all about. So to begin with, we have this tweet right here, which was very interesting to me. Now, the first tweet here is from Jinx Club, also known as Pokisarena, who tweeted out Kanto 100 years later, question mark, question mark, question mark. That sounds so wild, so it makes sense that it has new Pokemon and maybe new starters then. And then replying to this was Klaus Sensei. Now, Klaus Sensei says he talks about a submerged Pallet Town. In Japanese, Masara Town, Masara equals pure white, Project Beluga, a white whale that lives in the ocean. Now, if you don't know what he's talking about here, basically, it was kind of rumored by Pixelpar, which is an individual that's very interesting to take a look at. It was rumored by him that, this Pokemon that they're making right now, this new game is, codenamed Project Beluga. Now, somebody else also hit me up about this, an individual by the name of Gareth. Now, Gareth told me, "Hey, RUMOURS, I follow you on Twitter and YouTube. I thought I'd let you know about a possible connection I found within your most recent video. Pallet Town, or Masara Town in Japanese, is described as the color pure white. In the town's description, Puke's recent information suggests that Pallet Town will be submerged underwater. This further connects with Pixelpar's statement that the codename for the new games is Project Beluga, a pure white whale, so to say, that is found under the sea, aka Pallet Town." Very interesting, and I think this matches well together. Now, you may be asking, what's this about? What is Project Beluga, and who posted this originally? Well, let's go to that right now. So on the screen right now, you will see what I'm talking about. Now, Pixelpar is this individual who specifically talked about something very interesting, and he was hinting at the new Pokemon games. Now, you may have seen some of my older videos talking about this, but I find it very interesting. So first things first, and that is, ding ding ding, bell monitor, a white whale, belugas make high-pitched twittering noises, Project Beluga. That's all you're getting until the announcement. Now, this is what he posted. Now, you may know that Pixelpar has been wrong in the past, but he was also the individual who posted that sort of leaked image, quote unquote, and I'm putting quote unquote on that because we don't really know if it's real or not. He was the individual who posted the image of the Lapras and the player, riding the Lapras with an Eevee on top of the head of the player. That was the individual who posted it, Pixelpar. He originally showed us that, and he apparently has contacts from within sort of the Game Freak, not directly from Game Freak developers and that sort of stuff, but people who've done translations and people who have some sort of connection there. He has talked to those individuals, and he does have some sort of info that we don't don't know much about. But he does mention Project Beluga, which then again connects back to the previous thing. As we mentioned, the name of specifically Pallet Town in Japanese is Masara Town, and that translates to pure white. Now, pure white fits with a beluga. Belugas are whales. They're white whales. I mean, there's, you know, different whales, white whales, but they're one version of white whales that exist, and they're not like super large and whatnot, but they are, you know, white whales, and they are pure white colored, which is very interesting. So that connects really well back to this kind of idea of perhaps, you know, Pallet Town disappearing, and it connects well with Project Beluga and what that means. It's a very interesting connection there, and I do like where that is going. It's a very interesting theory, and I would love to know your opinions on it, guys. So let's see what actually happens next. So next up is something that is more of a hint from Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, and as you may see here on the screen, there is a kind of tweet towards me from Senor Pug, and Senor Pug, by the way, thank you so much for tweeting this, dude, and thank you for sharing this information. So basically it tells me, this could be nothing, but have you noticed that on the Pokemon transfer from the original games, the virtual consoles, to Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, they have this description for the way you meet. Seems, and then in quotation marks, seems to have traveled across both time and space to reach you from the Kanto region in the good old days. So this just kind of points out that, okay, maybe Kanto is like back from, you know, the past. Now, this is just one of the many small hints. This one personally for me wasn't as big of a deal, because I thought, you know, maybe it's just like one of those things. We don't know what it says when you transfer a Pokemon from maybe Gold and Silver. What does it say then? Is it different, or is it the same thing? Let's just switch out the region to Johto instead. Is that the same kind of prospect there, or is this different? That's the big question. But I still think it's an interesting thing that could be a hint towards something, but maybe it's just nothing. But this leads me into another thing that I talked about yesterday, and this relates really nicely to the image that you guys may have seen me talk about yesterday, and it's kind of perfect. So yesterday there was this image from Ultra Sun and Moon where an individual talked about time travel and using Pokemon for your box several hundred years into the future, which got me thinking that perhaps we have time traveling between a present Kanto and a future Kanto happening in this upcoming game. But that's just a theory of mine. But here's the image either way. So as you guys can see on the screen, this is the image I talked about yesterday. This was from Nathan. Thank you to Nathan for posting this. And he says, found this in my Ultra Sun playthrough at Ether before the Lego fight. And remember, Game Freak is sneaky. This is very true. Game Freak is sneaky. And you may ask why. Because if you guys haven't played ORAS, and in ORAS actually, there's this very interesting thing that happens. If you go to a specific like area in the game, on a wall, you can see a kind of drawing, or there's actually a hint to a Alolan Exeggutor. There's actually a hint in ORAS, a hint to Sun and Moon, which is very different and very interesting. So now, if you look at this actual hint, it says, imagine using the same Pokemon in your boxes in battle again after hundreds of years. In battle again after hundreds of years, it's kind of like a time machine, isn't it? So this is what I'm thinking is, what could be happening with this upcoming game is that you essentially travel between a present Kanto and a future Kanto. Now, if you don't know what I'm kind of talking about here, what I'm kind of thinking is that you're going to be traveling between a Kanto in the present, just a normal Kanto, to a future one where things are slightly different. I feel like I've seen this in other games before, but I can't really put a finger on it, but it's a very interesting kind of prospect, and I think it's an interesting thing that would be cool to see them do. We already know that time travel exists in Pokemon. There are several times time travel has kind of existed in Pokemon. One of these examples is, if you guys remember the Celebi event from Soul Silver and Heart Gold, with Celebi appearing, and you can basically use Celebi to time travel back and actually meet Giovanni. And this is very interesting because keep in mind, guys, Giovanni has the ability to use wormholes, and wormholes, as we don't know everything about them, may even have the possibility of mixing together with other things and creating something like a kind of time travel portal or that sort of stuff. So again, this is just theorizing, but we do know that, you know, there is time travel in Pokemon. It exists within Pokemon. You know, ORAS has time travel sort of stuff. You know, stuff like Heart Gold, Soul Silver had time travel. And even with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, there is some sort of aspect to that with the wormholes and whatnot that kind of plays into that kind of, you know, concept, so to say, which I think is very interesting. And keep in mind, Giovanni does have the ability to travel to some sort of custom-made wormhole of his, which I don't know what it does, but maybe it leads him to an alternative version of Kanto or to a different world that is like maybe in the future. I don't know, but it's just fun to theorize about. So now that we're kind of done with that stuff, guys, I have some interesting things here that I was sent, and one of these first things that I'm going to talk about here is from Mav, and he has an interesting kind of theory of his that I want to read out for you guys and see what you guys think about it. So let me know in the comments what are your opinions on this. So let's take a look at it. So Mav says, Rigpop, or Ruffle Reality. That theory about the Ultra Sun and Moon tidbit plus Kanto 100 years later rumor/leak made me think that maybe in Giovanni's universe, where he took control and he was able to use Bill's PC boxes and Silphco info to make a time machine. Now what he's trying to say here is that maybe he was able to use Bill's kind of, Bill specifically, who created the, the PC system in Pokemon, he used his technology alongside with the technology from Silphco to create a time machine. Now a time machine is not what I think was happening here. He maybe mixed a few things from those areas and kind of created an ability for him to travel through wormholes into different worlds and different, kind of times, so to say, maybe. And then he also says, I've heard some theories about Pokeball technology and PC boxes using infinity energy, explained in the Delta episode of ORAS, so maybe Giovanni was able to learn how it works. Stinks of conspiracy, in my opinion. I wonder if they continue this mystery they introduced in X and Y and Sun and Moon. The older games are related, but I don't think they had this plan at the time, but wove them into the narrative they're making to connect everything. So what he's trying to say here is maybe like they didn't plan to have this kind of paradox of different time travel abilities, wormholes, and this sort of stuff, and they're just trying to wove everything into one. And keep in mind, guys, this is very fun that he mentioned this, because keep in mind what the character said in the image, because you guys may have seen earlier that I talked about the image like a moment ago we looked at. He said, imagine using the same Pokemon in your boxes in battle again after hundreds of years. There's again a mention of like boxes there, and there's a mention of a time machine, which is very interesting. It's very different. It's very weird. And again, keep in mind, Giovanni was definitely not the Giovanni we're used to. Alola is different from like every other region we've kind of had. It's kind of its own little thing, right? It's kind of self-contained and kind of different. Now, I understand a lot of people don't really believe in any of this stuff. I know it is a rumor and all, so I understand that, guys. I fully comprehend it. But keep in mind, it's all just rumors for fun, and we're just trying to, have a good time and try to figure out like some theories and stuff to see where this could lead and if there's anything real behind it. Now, before we continue to other things, I want to quickly bring up something that I know you guys may be questioning a bit, and that is like, how would this future Kanto, how would it fit together with the anime and all we've got to kind of see in that area? Like, how would this work with the anime? It wouldn't make any sense, right? I do agree it would be hard to make this work. Like, sending Ash to a future Kanto would be kind of odd and different and wouldn't really make any sense. I 100% agree with that, but what I'm thinking is, they've done a lot of changes to the anime that kind of make no sense anyway. I mean, think about this, right? I know the movies aren't canon. The movies are separate from the TV show, the anime, so to say. But at the same time, think about it. They rebooted and recreated Ash's journey in Kanto through these new movies, and also now in Johto as well, I guess, with the upcoming 21st movie. They've essentially rebooted Ash's journey and changed it. This isn't really what we were having in the past. This isn't following a same thread. Things are changing. We now have different timelines. We now have different kind of characters jumping from different universes into one. Nothing is no longer like coherent within the story or the timeline of Pokemon with the games and even the anime. Things are all over the place. I mean, do this comparison. And I know a lot of people may have arguments towards this, but think about it. X and Y Ash was kind of grown up. He looked older, he looked more mature, and just a more grown up and kind of like adult Ash. That was kind of what we got from specifically X and Y. But then with Alola, he just turned into a child. He looked like he was just starting out his journey for the first time ever, and he's way more dorky. He's way more like, all over the place. He doesn't seem like focused, and he doesn't seem as like, he seems a bit like rash and just, irrational, so to say. He doesn't really focus on things too properly, and he isn't this kind of calm and calculated kind of trainer. Now he's just all over the place like a bit of a dork, which I understand they kind of did as a way to kind of make it more child-friendly or family-friendly and that sort of stuff, so it wouldn't be too serious, so the younger kids would enjoy it. I get that part of it, but then again, if you're willing to go that far to change the character in such a drastic way for the sake of like people enjoying it and it fitting with your your theme of Alola being this kind of like all over the place Lilo and Stitch kind of adventure type of thing, if you're trying to do that, then it wouldn't really surprise me if they decided to do something like, oh, maybe Ash kind of pops back into Kanto, the normal Kanto, and then through his journey in normal Kanto, he also has the ability to travel to this future version of Kanto. Something like that would be fun to see. Again, this is all just speculation, theories, and rumors, guys, so don't take it as, you know, facts and whatnot. But I thought it would be something interesting to kind of talk about, because I know a lot of people are saying, how would this fit with the anime? So I kind of wanted to give my personal opinion and kind of view on that as to why I think it could fit in a certain way, because again, keep in mind, everything in terms of the anime is all over the place. Nothing is very coherent anymore. Like, it never really has. I mean, it was for a long time, all the way until like Black and White, and then up to X and Y, things were kind of coherent, but then things just changed in 2016 with, you know, Sun and Moon, and then eventually also with the new Pokemon movies. It's just been so different now, and things aren't really the same. Ash is changing in design, the way he looks, all this stuff. It's almost like you have different Ashes, and it's not the one Ash we're used to, but it's a different instance of Ash each time in a different universe where things are different. I don't know, but I think it's interesting to talk about. Let me know your opinions on it, guys, though. Either way, let's get to the next thing here. So I have two last things I want to bring up in this video, and the first one here is another thing that was sent to me by some of you guys. This was sent by Steelix Studios, and this is something that was actually taken a look at a really long time ago, but we never got answers to it, and I want to kind of ask you guys if somebody like out there who has the time could do some research on these. But if you go to the Game Freak offices in Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon, in the offices there are these posters on the walls in Game Freak headquarters of Ultra Sun and Moon, and I think Sun and Moon as well. I can't remember if that's correct, but basically there are these posters on the walls. Now, what's interesting about these posters is they look like they're hinting at something, but we can't really see what it is. So if somebody's able to access the files of Ultra Sun and Moon, I'm not sure if it's Sun and Moon, but I think specifically in Ultra Sun and Moon, if you're able to access the files, if you could please do us the favor and check what those say, it'd be very much appreciated, guys. It would be very helpful for us to know what they are saying there and what it's all about. So if you could let us know about that, it'll be very much appreciated. But as you can see on the screen here, there are these posters on the walls that we don't know anything about. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is finally something that I think is very interesting, and that is that Carlos here sent me a bit of a kind of, you know, image or tweet saying that he wants to kind of debunk the Lapras image. Now, he talks about the Lapras having the same handles as the Sun and Moon one and the Ultra Sun and Moon one had, which is basically, you know, having those handles on the side, and he talks about basically that would kind of confirm that this image in itself is fake because it's just using the assets from Ultra Sun and Moon. Now, I did agree with that in the past, but it's kind of hard to see if the character is actually holding on to handles. It looks from like the poor quality of the image, it looks like it maybe is something like that, but it could also just be that it's just a shadow of the hands holding it. So I have a hard time telling if this is what, you know, we are assuming, which are handles. It could just be them holding on to the actual Lapras itself. That's what it could be about, but again, we could be wrong. Either way, guys, that's going to be the end of the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of a new format, just a bit of a video I wanted to test out and let you guys know what you think about it, and let me know in the comments as well what you think about it, guys. Also, if you did enjoy the video, please drop a like, guys. Let's see if we can hit like 200 likes on this video. It'll be very much appreciated, and thank you so much for watching. My name is Wolf. Have a great day, and bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.